Brooke and Gunnar. Brooke, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brooke Jamison. I'm a senior developer advocate with AWS, and I am joining very obviously from my hotel room because I'm not brave enough to join AM on the show floor.
I don't blame you. I mean, every time something comes through here, the entire stage shakes. I'm not
Mhm.
exaggerating. I saw James earlier physically shaking, and it's not nerves. Um,
Yeah,
anyway,
I was
Gunnar.
laughing.
Oh, sorry,
I was gonna
James.
say I was laughing. The forklift was seriously like 3 feet behind you. That was so funny.
How does it feel to be in the presence of a certified forklift driver?
Uh,
Right.
you know, I can't describe it. It's an
Beyond
indescribable feeling.
words.
Yeah. Gunnar,
Better.
you've been on the show before. With this kind of a show inside of a show. This is a Step Up Your Game Day, taking over AWS on air for just a few moments here.
I have.
But welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. So, quick introduction. Gunnar, developer advocate based in Sweden. And game days, well, I agree with James. I think it's the most exciting things we have.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I didn't even pay either of you to say that. I
Well,
mean, not yet, at least.
Not officially, no.
We have to see. We have to see how it goes to see how much it's worth.
That's true. Brooke, have you ever played a game day before?
No.
I didn't think so. That's why I had to bring you on the show.
Yeah, I've hosted them before, but I haven't played them. I guess there's still some online ones. I'm from New York, but I relocated to New York for this job with AWS. But before that, I lived in Australia. And there are some game days in Australia, but I could just never get the scheduling to work out.
Yeah, one of our top game day PSAs or partner solution architects is based in Australia. Josh Morgan.
Yeah.
He's great. He made the game day that Gunnar is going to be showing later on in the week.
That is great.
Anyway, so today we're going to be playing, just for Brooke, we're going to be playing an AIML game day.
No pressure.
So I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for you, Gunnar. I could probably speak for James because James and I we know a lot about each other. We spend a lot of time together. You're not an AIML expert, are you, James? I didn't think you were.
Not expert would be a stretch. I know a little bit. I know enough to get by.
What about you, Gunnar?
Oh, I don't know enough to get by, I'd say. So
Okay,
I think we have the order of everyone here. And you did, AM. What about
We
you?
have all the different levels.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
though, like the biggest thing that will help you to get anywhere with machine learning is being okay with having no idea what you're doing. Like, this is the thing. Like, there's so many times, often, what if you're the first person to try and solve a problem? There's not going to be something in the AWS Stack Overflow Collective about this necessarily doing it for you. So, being okay when you don't have all the information is really like when I see people starting to learn machine learning, that's a big differentiating factor if they can make decisions without having all the info.
It sounds to me like, Brooke, you're volunteering to be the expert in today's
It
game.
sounds like I'm the one who's volunteering to admit they don't know what they're doing all the time. And
Oh,
that is controversial but brave.
look, I've got probably 8 years worth of live streams that prove that I don't know what I'm doing at any time. So we're in good company together, Brooke. Anyway, before we actually get into the game day, we should tell everybody what a game day is, I assume, because people may not be familiar, right? They may not know what they are actually watching right now. So, James, I see you came off mute. You heard your wake word.
Yeah. So game day is awesome. I love them. Game day is basically we put you in the scenario of kind of a startup. Our startup that we like to use is called Unicorn Rentals, where everything's kind of broken or it's not complete or something's wrong. We need you to solve the scenario, get things running, and it'll guide. You'll get some guidance. Pretend like your senior is on vacation, but he left you some really bad documentation. So you're supposed to go into the console, or however you like, CLI if you're into that, fix everything up, try and get it running appropriately, and make Unicorn Rentals or the startup what it can be, get it going again.
I feel really called out by that. I feel really like that was aimed at me. The person who left no documentation. Anyway,
It was
great,
a personal attack.
great intro, James. Should I just pull up the game day and we can take a look? What do you think?
Yeah.
Let's get through it.
And while you're doing that, I put a link in the chat for everyone if they want to see all the game days as part of the agenda for reInvent this year.
Brooke, you're incredible. It's like you've done this before.
One thing I left out is that game days are generally competitions. Everything you do, all your actions, the better you do, you get points. Points will be on the scoreboard, and then that's your bragging rights right there. AM is all about the points.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the only reason he does these,
Yeah, that's it. That's it. See, look at all those points I've already amassed.
Wow.
And see, not
77,000.
even just a competition, but it's a team sport. And I think that's fun as well, because often, even if you're doing little things like this or like a bug bust, it is on your own. But this is cool because you can be in teams of your coworkers or friends or even family. I think there's been father-son teams before, parent-child.
It's like a father-son sack race.
No, there was a LinkedIn post from last year or the year before. There was a father-son team at Game Day that was focused on gaming. I saw it went super viral. It was very impressive.
Well, I didn't mention there are game days going on right now, like at this very moment. Actually, there's a game day being played over in Mandalay Bay right now. It's the cost optimization game, and Jeff Barr was there. Speaking of father-son, Jeff told us on the prep for reInvent that we had. I think he's got like multi-generational family members at this reInvent. It's pretty wild. So technically we could get Jeff and his son, but they can't play because it's not open to employees. It's just for people attending, not employees. Anyway, except for us, because we get to play one right now. This is actually a quest from last year's reInvent. We can't play any of the new content because it hasn't been played yet. And as James mentioned, it's a competition. People over at Mandalay right now are going head to head for fabulous prizes. Please don't ask me what, because I don't know.
They are fabulous.
It's incredibly fabulous.
They're so great, we couldn't say what they were.
Absolutely right. We're taking a look at the game day UI right now. This is when you join a game day. This is what you log in to see. You are given a free AWS account where you don't have to foot the bill, which is pretty sweet. And you come in and get to the challenges through this UI right here that we're looking at. So I need your help here, James. I can't pronounce this word. You always have to pronounce it for me.
Monakeros?
Yeah, finding Monakeros.
It's a constellation, apparently.
And as we can see, we're going to train a model to help us locate stars.
Yeah.
I thought it was Monoceros. Is it Monoceros?
I don't know.
James?
When I looked up the pronunciation, the lady in the computer said Monokeros, something like that. So
we always trust the lady in the computer. So
The internet is always true.
And just to piggyback off what AM said, when you do a game day, feel free, there's a little bit of guidance, but it's a free, the AWS account is free. Everything is guardrailed pretty much. So try everything you can. Even if you think it's unorthodox, if you want to try something new, just do what you can, to learn whatever you can, and just throw everything at the wall and see what works out. You can't break it. It's already broken. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
What you're touching on there, James, I think that's my favorite aspect of game days, just that it's open-ended. So it's not like a workshop where you follow step by step to solve something. Instead, it's up to you and your imagination, basically, to try to find solutions for the problems that unicorn rentals are facing.
Yeah, and just because you need imagination doesn't mean that you can't do this if you don't have lots of skills. It says on the screen that it's level 200 this game day, but so all AWS sessions, it's one of those things that is just sort of entrenched in AWS events, but they don't always explain it for new people. But level 100 is introductory stuff. So anything that's got 1 is the first number in the code. Level 200, which is this, is intermediate, 300 is advanced, and 400 level is expert. So if you don't feel like an expert, don't let that stop you from participating in stuff like this. Just find one that's aligned with what you're doing and you'll have a great time.
Yeah, for sure. the other side of Game Day 2 is it actually isn't, and this is one of the things that we could improve with some other content, but most game days are a little challenging. So if you've never done anything in the cloud before, it might not be the best first thing for you to do. You know, there are workshops out there, there are immersion days, things like that to go and get more experience before you jump into this very ambiguous game day. Is incredibly ambiguous. That's one of the things about it, right? So it could be frustrating for somebody who doesn't have enough background.
But I think we often see that the best teams are usually made up of people where some perhaps are very advanced users who've been using AWS for a long time, and some are perhaps more of beginners because they bring something else to that team. So in many of the game days I've done, those teams have been super successful. So
yeah,
the team in itself is what makes it successful.
That's how I argue to get on teams is what I lack in experience, I bring in spirit.
Personality hire is a legitimate job. So especially at Unicorn Rentals.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Speaking of, so let's get into this. I've had this up for a bit, so I'm sure people have read. I won't read the entire thing here, which should tell you a little bit about how I play Game Day 2. I don't fully read everything all the time, as James will attest. So Unicorn Rentals has a small data science team. They want to quickly prototype ML solutions. They've heard about auto glue-on. That's already a term that I don't know. Open source auto ML tool developed by AWS. Now I know a little bit. All right. And they're aware that SageMaker provides fully managed service to automate standardized ML practices. Okay, cool. That sounds good so far. We're going to be helping with an existing Jupyter notebook. That's a term I know, even as a beginner in ML. But somebody want to explain Jupyter notebook before we jump in? It's like the main place that ML engineers are living, right? I joked the other day, Brooke, you live inside of a Jupyter notebook.
I mean, have you ever seen me and a Jupyter notebook in the same place at the same time? No, you haven't. So the thing is like, if you're used to just programming in a command line or in maybe something like VS Code where your code is just happening in front of you, notebooks are really nice because you can have your code alongside text. You can add in other documentation there. You can really explain what you're doing, and then you can execute different cells one at a time, or you can execute them all together. You can use the SageMaker Studio. There's also SageMaker Studio Labs where you can run them for free with CPU and GPU compute. But they're just really good when you're learning as a learning tool as well, because I really tell people to keep it like a journal where you explain, oh, I tried this thing and it didn't actually work, but keep what you kept there, you know, so you don't have to run it later on, but you can see what you were doing with different types of code snippets. And if you're someone like me that's done a lot of scrapbooking before, this will start to make sense to you in a way of like keeping all of your notes and ideas together.
And this is nice. This is one of the nice things about Game Day. So I clicked on that link that was in there to take us to SageMaker Studio. They've already set up an environment for us. We can already just click in and open Studio. We don't have to go through setting up all SageMaker Studio, figuring that out. We can just jump right in. And it looks like it's going to set up the Jupyter notebook environment for us. And it looks like we need to also clone something.
Yeah. And if people are joining and they don't know what SageMaker is, so it is a fully managed AWS service for machine learning that's very helpful. And the best thing about SageMaker is you can do so many things in SageMaker. The worst thing about SageMaker is you could do so many things in SageMaker, and there are so many different features. So it's really overwhelming for new users, but definitely have a dig in. Even some of the weird niche features are quite helpful.
Yeah. I think one of the first steps is actually we need to pick which kernel to use, for example. Like that's even... there's so much there. It's awesome. I really like the analogy you made about being like a scrapbook. That's a good one. I'm going to steal that from now on.
Yeah.
We've also got somebody from chat helping out with Jupyter Notebook. It's a REPL for humans. I like that. As a non-human, though, I don't really relate. So we can also check out this diagram here. We're going to create a pipeline that resembles this. Does this mean anything to you, Brooke?
I mean, yeah.
Short answer. Yes.
Good. Perfect.
Yeah, actually, we're going to figure it out together. That's what's important. See here as well, you can see with the submit button, there are places where you can get a result in the console and put it back into this sort of GameDay dashboard. Is this one of the places some of our GameDay experts can help with? Is that how they calculate things like your score? Is what you put in those boxes helpful for that?
Yes. So scoring in GameDay is very interesting, and it's a big part of strategy too. So if you see a box like this, it's probably connected to both a positive and a negative score, right? So if you get the answer right, plus points. If you get the answer wrong, they usually detract points. The other side, though, is you may get scored for things that are ongoing. You may, and speaking of ongoing, our SageMaker Studio is still booting, still going. So I'm gonna try and buy us some more time by talking more about scoring. But yeah, so you can have ongoing scoring. So for example, you may have something like a load generator coming in and hitting an endpoint that you go in and set up, right? And the more requests that you can serve, the more points you get. You know, if you start dropping requests, you might start losing points.
Yeah.
All right.
From predicting GameDays, there's like 3 separate sections for me. The first one is people are like reading it, trying to figure out what's happening. The second bit, and you can see the audience change for this. The second bit is when they're trying and testing different things. And this third part is my favorite, but it's this absolute frenzy when people are trying to figure out how to optimize their responses to try and find some sort of loophole in the scoring system so they can go up to infinity somehow. And it's this absolute frenzy that's always very exciting to see. But I see the logo. Something's happening.
What we often see is that teams have different strategies. Some just go all in and just try to test things out straight away, while others are reading, like you said, Brooke. They are really diving deep into it. And that means that the scoreboard might look very, very different throughout the game.
Yeah.
AM has a strategy. AM has a very specific strategy. It's called the YOLO strategy.
I learned it from Drake, or Jimmy, as I like to call him, from Degrassi. You might know him better as Drake. Yeah, it's called the YOLO method. You only live once. And,
you will be delighted to find out that YOLO is actually a popular algorithm in machine learning. It's called You Only Look Once, and it's a thing for object detection. And if I knew you were such a YOLO fan, AM, I would have found a scheme in which we could talk about this.
Well, I think we just did. I love it. Yeah, no, I just throw stuff at the wall because here's the secret. James said at the beginning that I deeply care about points. I don't. Don't ever put me on your team because I'm just going to lose points constantly because I'm just going to do whatever I want.
We played a GameDay AM where we did not get a single point, if you remember.
I think we're on track for this GameDay too, Gunnar. Okay, so our Jupyter notebook finally, our SageMaker Studio rather, finally loaded. So what do we have to do? We have to deploy and execute. Oh, we have to clone
I think
that.
we have to clone it, right?
Yeah. How do I do that? Let's see. I see a Git icon down here. What is that?
There's a little copy thing.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Isn't that nice little markdown copy? Okay, so I need to run this. What do you think? No, that's not it.
Maybe. Did you clone it yet?
No.
There you go.
Clone. Look at that. All right.
My strategy, my order of strategy is read everything. Read everything. Then ask for, almost all GameDay events will have supporters. Raise your hand or hit that button to get support. They're always willing to help you. Then there's also some hints. We'll come back to them. I'm sure AM will show them. You can click those. They take away some points usually, but if that's kind of if you're stuck, those will help you out.
I'm very interested to see if anyone makes a Party Rock app for taking in some of the ideas about the documentation that they're trying to read so they can summarize it better with a Party Rock app. I'm very excited to see if we get any GameDay specific Party Rock AI apps coming out of this week.
That would be
Please
nice.
Send it to me. I want to see it.
Well, I'm having some issues here, which is not surprising.
learning. It's doing your best, maintaining positive mental attitude.
That's right. Let's see. We have got a repo here.
I mean, something's
Try it.
happening.
Clone it from that. There we go. Let's see. Clone. It's not valid. It is.
Just a reminder, we are live.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Let's see. What else do we have? There's a pipeline.
This is a unique, this is a very good game day experience of just clicking and hoping and figuring things out.
Pray to whatever deity might listen. None listen to me. Yeah, I'm stuck already. Let's go check out the hints. How about that?
Optimal game day strategy is to look at the hints.
Speaking
and
of,
like looking at the documentation that exists, not even just here, but sometimes in AWS white papers, there's really good information.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me. I'll do some live debugging here. Amazon SageMaker
There's some
clone
people
git
in the chat.
repo.
Someone asked if we needed to select the path after pasting. Another person says use the hash from the web bar.
Okay. See, this is why I love chat. Chat's always got my back.
Interactive learning.
Okay, and I'll just do slash. Maybe project. Oh wait, the URL went away. Oh wait, hold on. I think okay. I think this was my.
I think we saw it. You have to click it.
Yeah. Yep.
There we go.
All right, I'll leave everybody. Sorry. I don't think I'm qualified to do this anymore. Okay.
Are you the kind of guy that calls IT and they ask you if you've turned it on and off again?
I'm the kind of guy that doesn't call IT ever, and I just sit and stuff is broken. Anyway, I am too proud to beg to kind of co-opt a song there.
But not too proud of hints. You mentioned there were hints. Where will people find them?
Yes. So if you scroll down, and it wouldn't have helped us because it assumed that you could do something as simple as clone a git repo. But yes, we have hints here, but hints cost sweet points. So this hint will deduct 1,000 points from your score. So maybe we can get by without it. Let's see first. So we cloned it. I guess we can go back and read.
Your tone when you're saying read.
I mean, I
didn't come here to
read. Came here to lead.
Now, I guess if you open the cloned repository, there might be a README or something.
I mean, why do you
have to look at that because the word read.
Yeah, check the notebook.
Why do you have to go in and say something logical like that, Gunnar? But no, actually, I don't see. There's a notebook.
Yeah, if you open the notebook, like Brooke said, that's your scrapbook with notes and with instructions.
Okay. Oh, this tells me, right, that I have. Do you remember this, James? Oh, here we go.
It tells
Data
you.
science.
Yes. Please pick the right one, because this, starting with you have to restart the instance, and it's. Please pick the right kernel.
Python 2 and 3. If you're working on not for this, but if you're working on some really old beginner stuff, it'll only work in Python 2, or you'll have to figure things out. So if you are a beginner, always double check which version of Python you're using, because it is more of a big deal than you realize.
Okay, look at this. Look at us go. We've got a real live Jupyter notebook going here.
Yeah,
you can read it. I mean, mission accomplished.
Technical professionals.
Pack it up.
All right, your mission.
Yeah, we're going to build a gluon classifier. Auto gluon classifier. Okay. I think this thing has a lot more faith in me than it should.
Sounds simple enough.
Okay, data pre-processing, train a model, evaluate a model, register a model.
SageMaker pipeline.
And what is AutoGluon?
Why would you ask me a question like that, James?
It's a
I don't know actually. It's some sort of framework.
yeah, it's an AIML frame. The TLDR is it's a AIML framework for doing all those things for training and classifying and predicting.
Yeah. I think it's even an open source one specifically.
Yeah.
I found a blog post that I'll put in the chat for everyone if they want to learn more.
Oh, nice. Did I pick the wrong thing? I didn't think I did, but this is still starting the kernel. I think it just takes a bit of time, doesn't it? We'll keep reading. Oh, look. It's already got a bunch of stuff here. So I don't know that I can execute this yet because the kernel's not up, right?
Yeah, we need the kernel before you can start running these.
Okay.
But basically what it's doing there is it's going to install some of the dependencies that we need for AutoGluon and then run through that Python code in the next step.
This is something I love about Jupyter Notebooks is because I can just come in here and shift enter and somebody else wrote all this code. I didn't have to do it. It's awesome. This is great.
Yeah, and a lot of game days, there usually isn't tons of like actual coding. There might be like a little bit with placeholders and stuff. So if you're good at other different things like in cloud, different cloud services, but your coding is kind of weak, don't worry about that. That's usually not an issue.
There's some bug fixes in some of them, and usually the comments are quite clear how to fix those bugs.
Yeah. You can also use Code Whisperer within Amazon SageMaker Studio as well. So I put the docs to set that up. If people are not aware, Code Whisperer is your AI-powered productivity tool for the IDE and command line.
I think that's something AM should be using.
What's that supposed to mean?
That means that he wants you to have security scans.
Yeah.
That's what he means. He wants you to have the built-in security scanning powers.
Sure. I think
just being friendly.
Gunnar's giving me a backhanded compliment there, maybe.
I want the
points.
points.
I don't know if it's a compliment.
We need the
Gunnar
points
is point-oriented.
Oh, I think the kernel's up.
All right.
Shall we just start shift entering all the way down? Don't read anything, right?
Yep.
We're running short of time.
Oh, strategy. It'll break when it breaks, so then you can figure it out from there.
See, look, I've converted a bunch of people already, James.
It will break when it breaks. I hope if any sound bites make it out of this stream, it's that one.
James would still be reading. So let's go, AM.
Hey, we had all that time while the kernel was booting up to read, so we could have been doing that.
That's true. I think these little stars mean that it's still running, right?
Yeah.
Because it's got to install that, so it has to go and grab it and everything.
Might take a minute. So I probably shouldn't just shift enter continuously. Maybe give it some time to think.
See, this is the thing. Like, it runs in these segments because it needs to run in this order. So you can't pull from a package if you haven't loaded up that package up ahead. So it really does need to run in that order. I'm sorry, it's not keeping to your scheduling that you would like.
I mean, you ask for one thing. Actually, technically asked for it to do three things.
Yes.
All right. Let's keep reading because that's a bunch of setup. It looks like it's importing a bunch of the libraries. It's creating a role for us here too. Or no, it's just getting the execution role. It's not creating anything. It already had that as part of the SageMaker environment. Okay, cool. And now we're going to download the data set, right?
All right. It's got some descriptions of what different things are. This part here, just like outside of actually downloading the data set, see how it's telling you what all of the abbreviated variable names mean? This is what you want in a notebook.
Really?
This is why it's great for machine learning, because if you've got a table, you're not going to have the whole name of it, like with all the distance between the star and the earth as a thing. But having it on the same page that you can refer up to will really help you if you start doing some exploratory data science and things like that.
So you're telling me not only should I read, but I should also be writing a lot of this stuff too, Brooke?
Write it in a language that speaks to you.
You're blowing my mind. I'm learning so much. I thought you just, yeet it over the fence and say, Gunnar, go fix it.
You can type the word yeet. Like, that's allowed. There's no rules on what you can and can't type. So you could yeet in that way, but...
Okay. I will. I'll describe it in terms of a Hallmark movie. How about that? That's how I'll write all of my documentation in terms of a Hannah Swenson mystery.
Perfect.
That's a
Yeah,
deep cut for me, Hallmark
but
fans.
as we were saying, as a Jupyter notebook, I like it's a notebook. You write what you're doing. Hey, I'm trying this, and then you run your code. You get some outputs. Hey, this is what this did, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. Then you can save your notebook, hand it over to someone else, and then they can open it and they can just add their own stuff, run their own stuff along with it.
Yeah, because this is the thing about learning machine learning. If you learn, people will come to you when they want to learn. So if you do a good job of having these good notes in your notebook, when someone asks you, hey, how do I learn how to use AutoGluon? You've got this notebook, you can send them with like your notes and information. So it's a nice way to sort of spread the word in the community about what you're building.
All right. Speaking of, it's time to start wrapping up. So just to keep the streak going, Gunnar. No points.
So no points again.
No points
Yeah.
again.
But you didn't lose any points.
We didn't lose any points.
That is true. Well, yeah, you didn't use the hint. So
We
A
didn't
win
need
is a
to.
win.
no.
All right. So if you are at reInvent, you've got
Yes.
plenty of opportunities to come and try out one of these game days. That was from last year's. We've got all new content this year. We've got a ton of game days, too many to list. But come in and sign up, play. If you can't make it to Mandalay, you can come to the expo hall right here and play the Riot Games game day. It's on a rotating 90-minute basis.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll run into Brooke or Gunnar at some
Yeah,
point.
you'll see me because I have my S3 bucket pass with me here. So I stick out a lot for this. But come and say hello. It's great to meet everyone here.
And we have
Gunnar?
another chance on Thursday, AM.
That's right.
Gain
That's
some
right.
points.
That's right. Come watch Thursday. All right. So we've got to go for now. But Gunnar and Brooke, thank you so much for joining us, even though I didn't score any points for you.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you. Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.